Hi, welcome to your hour-long restorative yoga practice. My name is Alicia Rae, and it's my pleasure to guide you through one of my favorite yoga classes, the art of restoration and renewal. So what we'll be doing is moving through a handful of postures that really allow us to be at ease, to be at complete stillness of the mind, body, and being. This can be sometimes a challenging practice for either our bodies to find rest or our minds to be still. So just recognize where you're seeing some of that challenge come up, and I'll offer you some tools that you can use to help guide you into a space of serenity. This practice truly does fuel and give us nourishment and strength for our physical asana practice. This is a space to renew and recharge your battery. So the idea here is less is more. Being still is going to accomplish the most. Kind of the reverse of how we typically feel. So enjoy this beautiful way to bring that balance of yin and yang to your full yoga practice. You'll want some props. You'll see that behind me I have several props. So I have floor cushions, we have bolsters, we have blocks, and then we also have pillows. I also recommend a blanket that can add some extra weight, which is super nourishing for some of our postures. And then as you're moving in this practice, there's a tendency to cool down. So I recommend some socks, some layers, and let's begin. As we transition through the postures, I will offer this sound, and that's just a nice way to bring you out of and then ready you to move into each of the postures. And anytime that you're feeling a call to stay in a pose, then that is exactly where you need to be. In some of our postures, I will offer a part A and a part B, so always an option to move into those changes, or again, be still as you are. You'll hear me offer a lot of cues and suggestions. You will spend some time using your props to create foundation for the posture so that you can, again, completely surrender. Little to no movement, you are at rest. And then finally, I recommend enhancing your experience with aroma. So I'll be using Aveda's Chakra 1 spray with patchouli, vetiver, and olibanum, which is going to help ground us and root us into the practice. Great. So our first posture is legs up the wall. Now you can do this with just your props, which I will demonstrate, or if you have wall space, I highly recommend moving your mat closer to the wall, and I'll give you a few moments to get set up for that change. Those of you who are moving to a wall, I'll be with you in a moment. If you are looking to just use your props, the simplest way to get into a supported legs up the wall is going to be using a bolster or a block. So you want something that's going to offer a little bit more support and lift. So block at the lowest point, slide it underneath your sacrum, and then quite simply bring your thighs towards your chest and your heels and toes up to the ceiling. Relax your arms, palms down, and you're there. Close your eyes, allow yourself to be at ease. Those of you wanting a little bit more support, you can use a bolster, a floor cushion, and slide underneath your sacrum. Again, the idea here is you want to start to feel like your thighs just naturally fall towards your chest, and then lifting your heels up to the ceiling. You do not have to have a perfect 90-degree angle, and often a lot of us need to bend our knees quite a bit. Tight hamstrings, tight low back, that's okay. You can take a few moments to roll out your ankles, point and flex through the toes. And then finally, those of you who are using the wall, you can still use a bolster or a pillow with yourself against the wall, or no props at all. I'm going to use a small little pillow for the sacrum, face to the side, and sit next to the wall. You want one palm space distance between your hip and the floor, and the wall, that is, not the floor, the wall and your hip. From here, you'll lean back on your pillow and pivot slightly, so you still have that palm width distance between the wall and your hip bone. And here you're at less of a 90-degree angle because your feet, your heels are falling against the wall. Same thing here, palms are down, arms relaxed beside your body. close your eyes. You'll hear the sounds to bring you in deeper into the pose and to bring you out. Most of this practice, we surround ourselves in silence and attune to our senses, allowing yourself to notice the world around you through your ability to smell and taste, touch and hear and see internally. At this point, you could bring a blanket or a pillow to rest at your belly, or if you have an eye pillow, I'm going to be using a jade stone eye mask. Great time to bring in a little DIY face mask. We'll be here for quite some time. I'll check in just a little bit. Otherwise, get lost in your breath. And as you're here in this space, you can certainly invite my voice to go back into the distance. And in fact, if you're not really needing to hear it, you won't. If you're newer to a restorative practice, some things to acknowledge. You may feel a sense of warmth, some tingling sensation with circulation. That's all normal. If it feels uncomfortable, wiggle toes. Allow your body to adjust and move. You can bend your knee, straighten your legs. And this can happen in any pose where you might just need to fidget a little bit. Shift some of your props to make the posture more accessible so that, again, you can be at complete relaxation. We're also feeling the body start to heal itself. And so sometimes it can feel active, maybe a little tender, sometimes slightly painful. The pain should not elevate to a point where you're in such excruciating discomfort that you want to exit the pose. And if you do, absolutely. This should be where you're feeling the connective tissue and the fascia starting to be at ease, and sometimes there can be some discomfort there. So breath is super vital. And if it isn't the busyness of your body learning to be still, then it's the mind that's calling your attention, and a mantra can help take you to a deeper level of focus or meditation if the breath isn't able to anchor you back. And the mantra that I offer you today is Om Namo, O-N-G on the inhale, Om, Namo on the exhale, N-A-M-O. And you'll just quietly chant that in your mind as you match it to your breath. Inhaling Om, exhaling Namo. And drop back into silence. So breath first, then movement. Do not be in a rush to come out of this posture. Take a moment to listen. See if you need to stay. If you are ready to draw away from this pose, whether you're against the wall or have props underneath you, just take a moment to bring your feet a little bit further over your head. Roll out your ankles, point and flex through the toes. Bend one knee and then the other, and then you'll just roll off of your props to the side. Take a moment in supported fetal pose. Rest your head into your arm. We're no rush. You're starting to feel sensation of energy in the body, circulation, flowing again, moving into those new spaces that you just cleared. Legs at the wall is one of the most restorative postures. It really can target all areas of the body and mind, releasing headache, tension, anxiety. It's a great rehabilitator for the back. And if you sit at a desk or stand on your feet a lot, this will help to repair some of that damage to the body over time, making us more resilient. Slowly press yourself away from the earth. And take a moment to come into tabletop. So we'll just offer some gentle movement in between our long holds of stillness, just to help circulate. So a couple cat-cows. So we'll open up front line with a few poses and then come back to the back line. So one of my favorites is reclined bound, supported reclined bound angle pose. So starting with the soles of your feet together and the knees out wide, and noticing that your knees naturally lift here. What we want to do is prevent that the body has to hold or engage muscle to find this posture. So what you'll do first is support the sides of your legs. So you can take two of your pillows, one on each side. I like to fold them and tuck them underneath your thighs so that truly you're not having to use any energy to hold this or support this leg. Okay, so tuck your pillow on both sides. I like to describe the restorative yoga practice like a good bubble bath, right? You light the candles, the music, you get everything ready, so it's worth all that extra effort, and then you drop in and surrender to the moment. It's quite relaxing. Same for our restorative practice. Okay, so from here, we want a slight upward angle. So you have a bolster or a big giant pillow. Option one is just to kind of recline back, okay? And then take your fourth pillow and bring it underneath your head. So my head is slightly above my heart, and that's the goal here. We can make it more restorative by being closer to the floor, a little bit more active by being higher up with head above heart. So this would be option one. Arms out to the side, palms face up, close your eyes. Dropping in, legs are not supporting themselves. And then you could also bring a pillow or a blanket to rest at your sacrum for that extra weight. It sinks you deeper into the earth. Another option would be to build a taller tower. So a block at the back of your mat where your head will go at the tallest point. Your heaviest pillow or bolster. You'll back up onto your bolster. You're sitting down, sit bones are on the mat. So you're just backing up to the point where you can get the most connection of low back. And then again, you can tuck your pillows underneath the outside of your legs, or an option is to bend the knees instead and extend the legs out in front of you. Easy might have to do the block at the medium point. There we go. So this is also a great option. If you have knee challenges or circulation issues in the legs, you may want to take extended legs rather than angled. But here you could even angle them too. So let the props work with you, help you come into the pose. Come back into your breath. Close your eyes if you haven't already, and let's welcome ourselves into this new space. And the next time you hear that sound, it's an invitation to breathe first, and then we'll exit for our next pose. back to your mantra. Maybe some open mouth exhales. Invite your tongue to move away from the roof of your mouth, surrendering your jaw. Come back to the sensorial experience of your breath. Allow yourself to hear the sounds around you. Notice any smells or aromas as you breathe in deep. They may trigger a thought process or a memory recall. It's okay to acknowledge that and then exhale, let it pass. And then touch your thumb to your pointer finger. Feel connection of mudra points. So bringing energy in and around through, back out to the body. We touch thumb to middle finger, to ring, and to pinky. You can offer a mantra for this movement as well that invokes the energy of healing, boosts the immune system. So when we connect our thumb to first finger, it's Ra, middle finger, Ma, ring finger, Da, pinky finger, Sa. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa. Again, be at ease, no movement, only if this serves you. Quietly chant this in your mind if it helps you stay focused. If you feel that any sense of resistance, then surrender it. Check in with your breath. And we're about halfway here at this point, so if it feels good to shift or adjust any of your props, an option might be to straighten the legs, knees bent over a pillow. Another might be if you started off higher, maybe start to get a little bit lower to the earth. This can become kind of like a supported bridge in a way, where your head is now level with your heart or a little bit below the heart. And send your breath to any part of your body that is talking to you. It is calling your attention because you're finally listening. Let your body communicate. And then finally, one more option would be to turn your bolster perpendicular. Mountain Brook pose. You'll want this to line up right around the shoulder blades. You may need a pillow or block for your head. As you roll over the bolster, the top of your shoulders should rest right at the ridge of your bolster, and then you can bring your block underneath you. No block or a pillow is going to make this a lot more opening for the throat. So just ensuring that it's not too much strain on your neck. And we'll spend about 7 to 10 more breaths here. If you took the transition, if you stayed, continue to breathe. Soften your brows, soften your forehead. And then breath first before movement. Let your exhale go. Just bring your knees towards you. Shift to one side. Roll off of your props. Supported fetal pose. Rest your head onto your arm. Take a moment with your other hand at your heart. And be here for a few breaths. Hand resting in the earth in front of your heart. Push it into the earth. Try to not use your head to lift your neck. And then use your hand outside your ear to put your head back over your heart. Those are subtle little transitions that can make such a big difference in the health of our body and the overuse of our body. We'll take a moment to come back to tabletop and extend one leg out, roll your toes, and the next leg. And then back to tabletop. Some arm circles, 3, 4 each direction. Get some shoulder mobility going. We'll prepare for our next posture, which is going to be a supported twist. So you'll want your heaviest, most supportive bolster or pillow right in front of you. And then you'll probably only need one other pillow or blanket. Sit to the side of your heaviest pillow or bolster or your floor cushion, and we'll stagger the legs, the knees. So I like to go for a bigger stagger, so foot to the inside of the thigh, and then bring your pillow and just rest your pillow between your 2 legs. From here, go post the arms, that way you can literally see your body twisting from belly button up. You twist to pivot over your bolster, and from here you should have the support of your belly against the bolster, sometimes adjusting through the ribs. Now, final option is where do you want to place your head. So for here, gazing towards your bent knees is going to be a less intense twist. I will give you a halfway point if you would like to then take a deeper twist by turning your gaze away from you. That's going to give you more stretch in the latissimus dorsi in the back, all the way into the QL possibly. Settling in with your breath, the sound of the healing singing bowl to invite you into a space of renewal. And then knowing you'll hear that sound once again when it's time to exit the pose. Access the tools of your practice when and if you need them. So your breath, consciousness of any distractions, coming back to moving through the senses of the world around you, or your mantra, Om Namo. If you'd like, halfway point, check in. Maybe take a deeper twist, shift your gaze. Breath first. If you did take the more intense twist, first shift your gaze. Let's use our upper body. Slide your hands towards you, tuck your chin towards your chest, and then lift. And come to cross-legged pose for a moment so we can allow our body to adapt to the twist. We're just going to offer some slow-moving oscillations. Definitely feeling a lot more pronounced opening space in the latissimus dorsi, the low back. And a couple side to side stretches. And we'll move right to the other side. What's great about this is prop can stay as it is. You'll just turn around. Sit right up against the side of your bolster again. Your pillow or blanket between your legs with your knees staggered. Goalpost, pivot, fold. Back into your breath. About halfway through, make any shifts or adjustments or change your gaze for an adjustment in the twist. If you feel any strain, any pull, any resistance, come out. Meet yourself where you need to be today. Continue to breathe. Breath first, then movement as you slowly untwist. Use your upper body to lift yourself away from the earth and then come to a seat. Change the cross of your legs from where you sat previously, and we'll come back into our twists. And then a couple pelvic floor movements forward and back. So lift the chest. Exhale, chin to chest, pull the belly button back. And then a couple neck exercises. So just simply shift your gaze to one direction and then the other. And then we'll move into swan neck. So shift your gaze and then tilt your head back. Hold there for a few breaths. Tilt head back up. Turn your gaze to the other direction and then tilt head back. Let there be breath. And then chin over shoulder. Shift your gaze forward. So now we'll start to bring energy down even more. So we'll counter some of the movements we just experienced. So the first one's going to be a forward fold. So extend your legs out to about the width of your mat or a little bit wider. And the easiest, quickest way to get into this supported forward fold is your bolster. It's like a bridge between the floor and your forehead, and you'll just hinge at your hips, rest your forehead. No reaching for the toes. Completely relaxed. If you don't have the bolster, you'll start to stack pillows and blocks, as many things as you can to, again, bring the bridge between the floor and your forehead. And another thing you can do is bring pillow in front of you and then round and roll over the pillow. So remember, we're not reaching because this is an active stretch. This is restorative yoga, so you're just folding over. If it's helpful for you to hook your arms around your pillows like a bear hug, that's a little bit of activation, but not as much as reaching for your toes, which changes the stretch. The intention here is we want to release low back, stretch the undercarriage of the legs, and start to calm the nervous system. So you might have to shift your head from one side to the other. Otherwise, if it's okay for you and you can breathe, of course, forehead towards your pillows. So be here for a few moments. Adjust your props. If you settle into the pose and doesn't feel quite right, keep making those adjustments until you find that sweet spot to settle into. Take a breath. Exhale out. Continue to breathe. If you're feeling like you can access another level of stretch, we can deepen this by getting closer to the floor. So bring your legs together. Again, stay if it calls to you. If you need a little bit more, you can start by just simply resting your pillows and bolsters on top of your legs, and your legs are together. So we start by making sure that we can roll over, bolster or pillows, and then rest forehead down. If that doesn't work for you, and this just comes from experience of trying different things on, sometimes putting the pillow further back and folding it so you have a space for your forehead, but you still have this canal that you can breathe freely into. And then tuck hands underneath your weighted bolster or pillow. Let's invoke a higher level of breath awareness. Really active, long inhales and exhales. Go for a few more. See if this next exhale allows you to ease in, melt a little bit more, fold a little deeper. And slow rise, head back over heart. Move your props to the side. And hands next to your hips, bend your knees and just rock side to side. 2 more postures. Next one on deck is child's pose, supported child's pose with an option to move into surfboard pose. So difference between the two, extended child's pose, sometimes we have circulation challenges. And if you do feel that, then I would recommend that you move into surfboard pose. Super beneficial for healing the legs, especially if you have varicose vein or spider vein issues. I would recommend surfboard pose. If you're wanting more hip opening, then child's pose will be for you. So let's come through. We'll start with child's and then I'll guide into surfboard pose next. So soles of feet together, toes touch, that is. Knees out wide. It's weird when random things come out of your mouth as a yoga teacher. You're like, that's not even what I wanted to say. Okay, so we're building some support for the upper body. And then a nice little added touch can be to roll a blanket or a pillow and rest that between your hips and your heels, especially if you feel like it's challenging for your hips to even go and sit back on your heels. This is a nice way to bridge the gap there. And as you fold over your props, you'll shift your gaze to one side or the other. Another option is to bring a weighted blanket or pillow right at your low back, at your sacrum. Yes, and then you'll just come right into a posture that's very familiar, but somehow the message is a little different. This is not about an active pose, this is passive, so just easing in. And those of you who are seeking surfboard pose, really it's just a matter of supporting your feet at the back of your mat. The higher the better, so I recommend stacking maybe a block and a bolster or a couple pillows. Probably a good foot, 12 to 14 inch height. Tops of your feet will rest with your knees bent. And then a pillow underneath your belly, right closer to your sacral area, your sacrum. And then perhaps a pillow for your head. Although I recommend just stacking one hand on top of the other, forehead onto the back of your hands, like you're floating on a surfboard. So we'll invite ourselves into the posture with sound. And when you hear this again, that's your cue to come out.
about halfway through. So if you're still enjoying child's and it feels good to you, again, listen to your intuition, be as you are. If you're in surfboard pose and want to invite a little bit of movement, you can prop onto your forearms for a variation of Sphinx pose. And we're just going to do a couple lifting and lowering of the head. So tuck chin towards chest, roll shoulders back, and slowly lift top of the head towards the ceiling, push into the palms, and then tuck chin back to chest. And just do this a few times. And I just felt the big release, and suddenly I could breathe a little bit deeper. And for a final stretch, if you're in surfboard pose, take your feet off of your bolster and pillows behind you so feet touch the floor, palms out to the top corners of your mat, and then a little seal pose, push away from the earth, lift, breathe. And then surrender to the earth. Surrender to your child's pose. And take a few more conscious breaths. If you are in surfboard, palms a little closer to your ribs, tucked into chest, kind of come into tabletop. Push your props off the side. In child's pose, you'll want to take a moment to maybe move into a downward dog or stretch the legs back a few times to get circulation returning to the body. So we're going to prepare for our final posture. Just going to do a quick time check here. Wonderful. So supported Shavasana, and this one is ideally a space where you want to feel like you're floating. So as many props as possible. So I recommend a pillow for your head. I'd recommend something for your feet, and then something to place under your back and then on top of your belly. So start by creating as much cushion as you can. Bolster underneath the knees can also be a good substitute. If you don't have the bolster, you can do 2 pillows underneath your feet. And then if you have additional pillows, you could float your arms on top of, even better. Oh my gosh, this feels amazing. Locate your eye pillow or blanket or pillow or blanket to rest at your sacrum, eye pillow to go over the eyes. Drop in here. I will bring you in and out of this posture with sound. I will also offer just a little mantra, a little invocation chant in Shavasana after a moment of silence. So please enjoy.
If you'd like to continue to be lost in the sound of silence, this might be a good time to just press pause, and you'll drop right back in. We'll guide you through your body for a few more moments and then close with our invocation. So feeling that sensation of effortless floating, how effortless it is for you to be present here and be still. And then welcoming that warmth of healing energy as you start at the very bottom of your feet. Let your breath feel like massage movement through your body, just inhaling waves of the ocean up through, exhaling as they recede back to the feet. So there's this constant flow of water energy, and you can feel your breath bringing the movement closer up through your body each time. So now you're feeling this wash over your kneecaps, and then back out the legs, and then maybe up towards your pelvic floor, and then back out the legs, and then back up towards hips, and then right out the legs. And now you feel it touch your fingers and wash back out. And keep moving through this as this inches your way up through your torso, your spine. And take a moment to let it swirl around your heart space. Big exhale out. Up through chest and shoulders. Big exhale out. All the way up through now to chin, back out through the legs, and then finally through the full body, inhaling, 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 all the way to the crown of your head. Hold that breath, hold that breath. Big exhale. Breathe here on your own. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. To the love, to the light, to the teacher in ourselves and each other. Namaste.